6:35 now, and while it appears Alberta wildfires may have slowed slightly, they are certainly have not been put out yet, and a lot of communities still struggling to recover from the devastation, and still some on alert. Halifax is now facing a similar problem, battling an out-of-control wildfire with very strong winds and hot temperatures in the forecast. Gabriel Wainer joins us now to talk about wildfire modeling and why it's important in situations like these. Good morning, Gabriel. Thanks so much for your time.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Can you explain what exactly is wildfire modeling? What does that mean?
So basically what you do is you use some mathematical methods and computers to study where the fire will go. Of course, we cannot do experiments on real forests with people and houses. So what we do is we create a mathematical model, we put it in a computer, we create a virtual laboratory, we do lots of experiments on the computer safely, and then we learn for predicting the future in the future fires, and then give it to decision makers to make critical decisions, and so the firefighters can use their resources wisely.
Gabriel, what sort of data is inputted? So for example, what are the parameters that you're putting into these systems? Is it, weather patterns? Is it the amount of growth in a certain region? What sort of parameters?
So you start with the basics. You need, number one, the fuel. What type of fuel do you have? That means, do you have shrub? Do you have trees? What type of trees? Do you have pine? Do you have sequoias? Depending on the area, right? Second is the weather, right? Humidity, the wind directions, and then is it going to rain? Is it hot? Is it cold today? Those affect the fire direction, and also the slope of the terrain. So is it flat? Do you have mountains? So these are the initial data that you need to create the models, and then when you execute the simulations, they get all integrated and combined, and then you try to predict where the fire is now and where will it go. You take the forest fire front, the crown of the fire, and then you try to predict the direction.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. So are you looking for the why a fire started, or more for how it grows, how it moves once it's burning, so that you can use that in future fires?
Yes, you study how it grows, in which direction, the velocity of the fire, the intensity. So in this way you can predict if it's going to go into a population, or if it's going to go into expensive resources. The utilities companies will need to know, for instance, if you are doing, oil, right? So an oil company, if you have a forest fire coming in your direction, it's extremely dangerous. So utilities companies need this. You need to take care of the fire direction to take care of the population in general. And also pollution, the smoke is very dangerous. It's used to be prepared when the fire happens. You cannot predict when it's going to happen.
Gabriel, the climatologists and meteorologists can collaborate and put models together when it comes to forecasting weather in regions and using climates, as kind of the base model, what to expect. However, when it comes to forest fires, we do have that one unknown variable, which is human interaction and man-made fires. These cigarettes tossed out of the car window, for example, campfires left unattended. Is there any way to account for that in these forecast models when it comes to forest fires?
Not really. It's as random as a thunderstorm, and you have lightning, right? So yes, we need to educate the public, and we need to put big signs and teach. If you go to a campground, to put your fire in a safe place, don't light your cigarette, don't throw it, out the window. But all that said, even without humans, the fire is going to start because of natural conditions that normally happens. You cannot predict, a lightning striking the middle of your forest on a very dry day, right? So the current situation with higher temperatures all over the world and the patterns of climate changes help with that. We have to be extremely careful not to help the forest fire that happen naturally.
Thank you so much for your time this morning, Gabriel. Important for us here in Alberta, as well as we see what's going on in Halifax right now. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Gabriel Wainer is a professor at Carleton University.
Mornings with Sue and Andy.